the rabbit hole goes. I'm going to play you a little bit of this very short bit from Elon Musk, who's with Tucker Carlson. And Tucker asks him, what about our private messages? You know, if it's one thing when I put a tweet out there for the world to see, or if somebody does, but if I want to talk to you, send a private message, direct message to somebody, it's like a text, or it's like a text or email to somebody. Listen to, I think it's cut 6.
The degree to which various government agencies had effectively had full access to everything that was going on Twitter blew my mind. I was not aware of that.
Would that include people's DMs?
Yes.
Direct messages. Do you think the government's not spying on you, Tim?
Well, I don't do direct messages, but I get the idea. A lot of people do. What he's saying, Elon Musk there, thankfully he bought. He spent billions of dollars to buy Twitter, and we'd have never known what was going on. Well, we'd always been suspicious, conservatives were, but you would never have the proof that he was able to get by buying Twitter, that they colluded. Twitter did. You may not use Twitter, folks, but it has a big influence on the culture. Okay, news and information and tidbits and breaking news and all those things. A lot of that spread first and foremost by Twitter, and Elon Musk bought it, and then it was able. Then we learned that Twitter was colluding with the Democrats. Basically, it was and the CDC and FBI. The FBI was communicating with Twitter, saying, telling Twitter, hey, you might want to look at these particular people because they may be violating your terms of agreement. That's the way the FBI did it. Right. And it was, and one of them was the sage out in San Francisco. I forgot the fellow's name. But anyway, it was, and then Twitter also banned the Hunter Biden laptop story that the New York Post broke. They colluded with the Biden campaign to prevent that from getting much public play, which helped Biden beat Trump.
And for what it's worth,
and that's what. So all this is what Elon Musk, who's neither a Republican or a Democrat, as I understand it, he's voted mostly Democrat. That's what he's found out.
Right. And for what it's worth, we're finding in those Twitter files, it wasn't just Twitter, because Facebook is implicated in several of the...
So Donald Trump was right all along about the spying on the part of the government, the collusion, and the Democrats constantly accused him of colluding with the Russians, okay, when all along it was the Democrats. And it seems like a good portion of the intelligence agencies colluding with private big social businesses. Do we know, by the way, whether or not Twitter voluntarily gave the government access to direct messages, or was
what the government... For those who don't know, what are direct messages?
If I go on Twitter and I am following somebody's following me, I have the ability through Twitter to send them a message that's just from me to them. Nobody else sees it.
Okay, that's the term direct message.
Direct message.
And what Elon Musk there is saying, no, the federal government has those too.
They were able to see
what's supposed to be a private message is not private. It's what he's saying. And that's what he discovered, right?
And so what would and to your question, Ed, I don't know. I haven't been able to. I did take a look for that. I can tell you this: if the government asked for it, Twitter put up no resistance to it.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the same. Twitter has on there has had during all this what we talked about the last 3 years, has had many people on their staff who left the federal government.
Yeah,
lawyers and such. It's a lot of crossover there at the top levels.
Well, and our listeners should know, if they don't already, if you sign on and use Facebook or Twitter, and anything you post doesn't belong to you. So if you say to Twitter, why are you giving my direct messages to the government? That's illegal. No, we own it. So the photos you upload to Facebook, you don't own those. All right, you may have a copy of it, but I'm saying Facebook can do whatever they want with that material.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. If you upload a
You
photo,
consent.
you consent to their use of it, and you no longer have sole use of that photograph. That's why when someone gets arrested for some crime, they'll oftentimes release a Facebook profile photo to the media, and you go, well, what right do they have to use my photo? Well, no, they have the right to use it. So, folks, you give away an awful lot of autonomy when you use social media. I'm not sure what the options are. I guess you go with maybe some smaller social media outlets that protect your privacy a little bit more, but all those photos you posted, you now share them.
The internet is forever, and even I will tell you that even newer platforms like Tumblr and Getter and all those things that are conservative based and promise not to do this, yes, they have promised, and I, for all intents and purposes, as far as I know, they're not doing it, but they still have your photo.
Yes,
You're still giving them your photo, and for that part, broadcasting it out to the world. So, I mean, I don't know what difference it makes if Twitter has it. If you're posting a picture, no, direct messages.
well,
no.
if they issue a new set of guidelines for your usage, and you get this, and in order to continue using the app, you got to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you got to click I agree.
Right.
Who reads that? Who reads that page after page after page, scrolling up and up of all that legalese? Nobody reads.
Nobody does.
Everyone clicks I agree. Well, do you know what you just agreed to?
Right.
So,
All right, you're listening to today's issues on the Americans Family Radio Network. Next story, Steve.
You guys mentioned our president. He was in Ireland over the weekend.
Ireland,
I do. And he took his son Hunter with him. That was a brave choice, I would say. And but I want to hear you. This was part of his speech to the governing body, the Parliament of Ireland, when he was saying goodbye to them and thanking them. Listen to cut 9.
There's nothing our nations can't achieve if we do it together. I really mean it. So thank you all. God bless you all. Let's go lick the world. Let's get it done.
I'm sorry?
let's go lick the world. Let's go lick the world.
Did he have an ice cream in his hand?
Oh, maybe no, he didn't.
It was on his mind.
It was on his mind.
I think so.
Let's go lick the world.
What did he mean by that? Poor fella. He does this every day now. Huh?
Usually you can tell what he meant to say, but on that one, I'm not sure. What was he saying? Let's go lick
Ireland and the United States are going to defeat the rest of the world. I don't know if there's an armed
lick the
conflict
world
coming.
together. Well, that's just.
What did he?
I have no
what
idea.
did he mean?
You're asking me to get into his head?
Yeah.
And it's scary.
And you don't
in
want
there.
to?
I don't want you to. I don't know if there's a way out. Well, listen. Again, we always say we're not making fun of the condition. We're making fun of the politician who shouldn't be there with that condition.
Right.
How's that?
Well said. All right, we have been talking about the transgender movement, and it's a fairly serious issue with us because it's denying reality, it's harming kids. But I got to tell you, sometimes conservatives kind of have their fun with it, and I want to listen. This is a guy who walks into a vet clinic with a dog that he has put a pink tutu on.
So this is an Irishman and an American walk into a vet clinic?
Yeah, something like that, an Irish dog.
Yeah.
So anyway, listen to cut 8. This is...
Do like a gender transition to remain female. But we don't want to know your...
I'm sorry, I don't authorize you to be recording.
So we're just filming a documentary for his transition.
You guys don't offer sex changes yet? Yeah, those something that's special. It's very transphobic. What do you mean?
Let me explain to you. So basically, like,
Right.
it's a male dog, but every time if we put a tutu in front of him, he'll put it on right away.
We're not
Yeah.
we are general clinic.
Well, I wouldn't call that being. They were saying gender identity is behavioralism.
Now, when you do leave, this is my property. I let you leave the premises. Okay? I'm going to charge you for trespassing if you continue to
So we can't do a gender
I'm just
transition.
telling you, you got to leave the property.
I'm reporting this to the LGBTQ plus minus 2%.
It's hard to hear, but the guy...
So what? He wants his dog changed over from a from a male to a female,
Yes.
right? He wants to transition the
Big
dog.
And he's taping it because he's doing a documentary of it.
Yeah, but he's punking them.
Right.
Are you sure he's punking him?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so the vet's office, I guess whoever's at the front desk says we ain't doing that.
The vet was there too, and he came out. But yeah,
Was that the vet?
the second there was two. There was a lady that
Yeah.
the
The
reception.
vet said we're not doing it. You can report
Get out of
anybody
my-
you want to.
Get out of my clinic. I'm going to report you to the LGBTQ plus -2 society.
Community.
Yeah. So yeah, he was.
How do you know he was punking them?
Because he came in with the dog with the tutu, and he told them that he was going to report them to the
Right. He said the dog-
plus -2.
No, listen. I have to have more proof
Trust
than
me,
that.
Ed, he was punking him.
He was-
There are some whacked out people out there.
There
How
are,
do you
but
know?
he said the dog. He said the dog. He gets out the pink tutu, and the dog wants to put it on.
Puts it on right away.
Right away.
I don't know how a dog puts on a tutu. You? I got to see this.
Same way a 2-year-old puts on a dress. Boy puts on a dress. Parents.
You know, but
I'm just saying this world has gone off the deep end, and 10 years
you're
ago,
not joining in.
I would have said that's probably someone punking him, but now I'm going, I don't know. Maybe this guy wants his dog to be trans just like he is.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to stop this show right here.
Let's do that.
I'm good. I'm good with that.
We're out, people. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I identify as someone who's not on the program in about 30 seconds.
Welcome to Breakpoint, a daily look at an ever-changing culture through the lens of unchanging truth. With the Colson Center, I'm John Stone Street. The Colson Center policy for Breakpoint commentaries, as well as our other media products, public speaking, and videos, is to only use pronouns that correspond to a person's sex, and to only use pronouns if at all necessary. So we will use he, him, and his to refer to males even if they identify as female, non-binary, or some other identity. And we will use she, her, and hers to refer to females. Now this, of course, has the potential to make people angry. As a result, an increasing number of Christians today argue that it's the more loving and hospitable thing to do, and perhaps even crucial for evangelism, to use a person's preferred pronouns, even if they do not correspond to that person's biology. A prominent Christian voice on LGBT issues that once believed this view is Rosaria Butterfield, someone with a well-known testimony that includes being saved out of a lesbian lifestyle. She at one time publicly advocated for what is often called pronoun hospitality. Butterfield hoped that using someone's preferred pronouns was a good way to, quote, meet everyone where they were and do nothing to provoke insult, end quote. Well, earlier this month, in an article that was published on the Reformation 21 website, Butterfield explained why she has not only changed her mind about this, but now deems it necessary to publicly repent, that's her words, of her former views. Using transgender pronouns, Butterfield now believes, was not only a misguided attempt at hospitality, it was a sin, a violation against the commandment against bearing false witness. Quote, Christians who use the moral lens of LGBTQ plus personhood are not merely a quote-unquote soft presence in the enemy camp. Their malleability makes them pudding in the enemy's hands. They make false converts to a counterfeit gospel that bends the knee to the fictional identity of LGBTQ plus. End quote. Butterfield's article should be read in full by anyone who seeks to be faithful to Christ in this confusing moment, especially by anyone wondering why the use of mere 2- and 3-letter words is such a big deal. The answer is found in the more fundamental question. What are words for? Is language essentially arbitrary, a reflection of subjective meaning, or is it perhaps a power play, as postmodern thinkers often claim? Or does it correspond to objective realities? Do our words name and differentiate things in the real world, a world that itself was spoken into existence by the Word of God? If so, then intentionally using and encouraging the use of false language is a verbal act of uncreation, an assault on the actual nature, dignity, and worth of God's creation, especially His image bearers. We should know that calling males men and females women will not in and of itself resolve these thorny cultural, psychological, and spiritual challenges associated with transgender ideology. Still, caving on our words will just destroy our ability to understand and undermine our ability to debate this issue truthfully. And it is the truth, not niceness, not relevance, not even hospitality, that promises to set people free. That's why I'm grateful for the commitment that Rosaria Butterfield has shown to think biblically about this, even if it required her to publicly acknowledge being wrong in the past. And I'm also grateful that she had the courage to call all of us to biblical truth on this most contentious of issues, and even to repentance whenever we've conflated telling lies with showing love. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet with Breakpoint.
The Colson Fellows Program equips Christians with a cultural hermeneutic, teaching you how to interpret today's culture through the lens of the Christian worldview, so you can respond with courage, clarity, and confidence. Apply today at colsonfellows.org. That's colsonfellows.org.
Hello, this is Steve Tiber with 8 Days of Hope. As many of you know, Hurricane Ian devastated southwest Florida late last year, making landfall as a Category 4 hurricane and leaving tens of thousands of families in need of help. Hurricane Ian caused over $110 billion of damage, but today we're excited to announce that 8 Days of Hope 19 will take place in Fort Myers, Florida from May 20th to the 27th, bringing much-needed relief to these families in need. We'll be focusing on roofing and drywall, mechanicals, painting, and so much more. If you'd love to use your gifts to serve those in need, we invite you to join us. It's free. We provide the food and lodging. Everyone is invited regardless of your skill set or your age. If you can't volunteer, we invite you to pray for this outreach. Pray that the families we serve would see God glorified as we rebuild their homes. For additional information regarding this rebuilding trip and how to get involved, please visit 8daysofhope.com. That's 8daysofhope.com.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio. Giant named Goliath. Today in our study of 1 Samuel, we'll learn that for 40 days, no one in the Israelite army wanted to go up against this enormous Philistine soldier in battle. God, however, used an unlikely young shepherd as his chosen champion. The message is titled The One Between. This is Truth for Life, and Alistair Begg is teaching from the opening verses in chapter 17.
So not only is he described for us so that we can get a picture of him, but then he speaks for us and we have a record of what he said. Verse 8, he taunts and challenges Israel. He stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why have you come out to draw up for battle?" That was a very good question, wasn't it? Why have you actually come out here to draw up for battle? That was the question that some of the soldiers in the camp of Israel must have been asking themselves. You know, every morning we get up, put the shoes on and everything, and then out we come and we just stand there. Why have you come out here? If you're not planning on fighting, why do you even show up? You know, just in passing, if we're very clear that the story is not about finding ourselves in the story as David, who's the hero, and we want to be the hero too. Setting that aside, if we want to find ourselves anywhere, then I think the church can find itself as a rather neutralized bunch of soldiers standing around holding weapons, and the world is going, why don't you guys fight? Why don't you actually say something? Why don't you do something? Don't you have a man? Don't you have someone? And that's exactly what is happening to them. And then he says, am I not a Philistine? Well, of course they knew he was a Philistine. What he's basically saying is, I am the Philistine. I am the embodiment of those who oppose you. Look at me, dressed to kill, ready for battle. And look at you. Are you not servants of Saul? And what he's really saying is simple. Surely you can put on a better show than this, can't you? Don't you have something? So he says, here's my challenge.
Choose a man for yourselves. Choose a man for yourselves. Choose somebody who will come and stand in between. That's actually what the word champion means. The man in the between. What you need is a man who will be the man in the between. And then if he comes down, then we'll settle the matter. Now this ought to ring bells for those of us who've been studying along the way. Because among, again, the ranks of the army, there surely would be some of them who, in response to this challenge, choose for yourselves a man, would have nudged one another and said, we tried that. And how did that plan go? Because that's exactly what they had done. Remember, they had chosen for themselves a king. And who was it they had chosen? They had chosen Saul, who stood head and shoulders above all the other people, who was handsome, who was apparently dynamic and influential. And after their choice, they had to dig him out of the baggage room. But he seemed to be the best shot. Now, he is conspicuous once again by his absence. We chose a man. He's back here with us, somewhere back here. What had happened? The Spirit of the Lord had departed from Saul. Verse 14 of chapter 16. There was no fight left in him. You see, God is not in need of the big, tall, handsome quarterback. The advance of his church is not that he picks out amongst the cheerleaders from school. They have a place. Some have a significant place. But the story of God's redemptive purpose is not a story of might triumphing over might, but it is a story of weakness triumphing over strength. And it is that which is being set up here in the battle lines, in the emergence of the Philistine, and in his cries of defiance. This went on for 40 days. 40 days. And verse 10, the Philistine said, I defy the ranks of Israel this day. I defy you. I mock you. My very presence every day when I come out here is a testimony to the fact that you folks are absolutely useless. And what is the response in verse 11? When Saul and all Israel heard these words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. In other words, they got together and said, what are we going to do about this? We can't deal with this. It's not uncommon, actually, to hear the soldiers in the army of Jesus mouthing the same kind of stuff in relationship to the affairs of our day. Oh dear, what are we going to do now? Look at the forces of darkness. Look at the forces of evil. Look at this, look at that. Now, in fairness, if you remember in the prayer of Hannah, which takes us all the way back to chapter 2, Hannah's prayer, which was in some measure prophetic, announced the fact, in verse 10 of 1 Samuel 2, that the adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces. The adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces. But in actual fact, the reverse was apparently the case. It seemed that the soldiers of the Lord were at least psychologically and emotionally broken to pieces. They were a threadbare outfit. They were neutralized on the side of the mountain. And not just for a moment or two, but for what? Almost 6 solid weeks. And still the taunt, still the cry, I defy you. I defy you. You see, what you're really dealing with in Goliath is, in the words of Luther's hymn that we've been referencing now ever since Reformation Sunday, what you really have in Goliath is the Prince of Darkness grim. And you remember when we sing that great triumphant